From the midterm elections, and a Senate race in New Jersey is, well, heating up.
That's right. The state hasn't had a Republican senator in decades, but as Joe Tui shows us, voters may be tiring of the Democratic incumbent.
New Jersey is one of the bluest states in the country. There are over 920,000 more registered Democrats here than Republicans. A Republican hasn't won a Senate race in the Garden State since 1972. So recent polling showing a surprisingly close race between Democrat Bob Menendez and Republican challenger Bob Hugin has drawn national attention, but Menendez says he's not worried.
I'm convinced that I'll win the race because, not because of any poll, I don't really pay a lot of attention to the polls. They go up and they're down, even though two of the latest ones have us both up by double digits. But I think I'll win the race because I'm at the center of the viewpoints of New Jerseyans, and I have a record of accomplishment.
Bob Menendez is seeking a third term in the U.S. Senate, casting himself as a Democratic stalwart to push back against President Trump.
They'll have to decide whether or not they want to send someone to Washington who will just be another vote for President Trump, or someone who will stand up to him when he's wrong.
Election Day falls nearly 1 year to the day after a federal judge declared a mistrial in Bob Menendez's corruption case. The senator indicted on federal bribery and corruption charges, a jury deadlocked, and the government ultimately declined to retry him.
A federal judge exonerated us of most of the most significant counts, found us innocent. A jury of average New Jerseyans, 11 of the 13, didn't believe one element of the government's case.
But earlier this year, the bipartisan Senate Ethics Committee, in a rare move, severely admonished Menendez for his actions.
I understand why people have concerns about that. We all make mistakes in life. But what I've never been mistaken about is who I'm fighting for in New Jersey.
Violated federal law, abused the power of his office, disgraced the Senate, and also 25 years in Washington, 16 years with a Democratic president, and New Jersey's dead last, get the least back of any state in the country, and people should be surprised that we're in a dead heat. It's almost embarrassing to say we're in a dead heat.
Bob Hugin is a former pharmaceutical CEO and a former Marine, casting himself as a different kind of Republican. A look at his Twitter account shows he hasn't tweeted the name Trump in at least 3 months.
He's running away from being a Republican. None of his advertising says that he's a Republican. We're reminding people that he's a Republican in our advertising.
We've worked hard to educate people about who he is, what he's failed to do, and who I am.
Bob Menendez failed on corruption, failed as our senator.
But the attacks in this race go both ways. Menendez hitting Hugin for big increases in the price of the cancer drug Revlimid during Hugin's time heading the company Celgene, and a $280 million settlement with the government last year for Celgene promoting the use of certain cancer drugs in ways not approved by the FDA.
You don't pay $280 million, over $250 million, unless something was wrong.
Putting a business transaction behind the company so it can focus on curing cancer was the right thing to do and move on with it.
And with just 27 days until the voters have their final say, both Bobs say they like their chances. Are you going to win?
Absolutely.
Are you going to win?
Yes. Yes.
And as I mentioned, the math alone, the sheer number of Democrats in New Jersey really benefits Menendez in this race. He won handily by almost 20 points in 2012. Still, this race, the polls show it much closer than anyone expected. Each side has their own theory as to why. A reminder, the deadline to register to vote in New Jersey is October 16th, just under a week from now.